Hello there. So, I recently won a guitar at an auction, and this is the guitar. As you might be able to see, it's taken apart, it has a bunch of dings and scratches, and so we're gonna start off a new series of restoring this guitar and make it cool, make it perfect, make it awesome playing guitar. It's gonna be a lot of fun. If you've been around on my channel for a while, you know that I love Stratocasters. They have a special place in my heart, and so having yet another Stratocaster is going to be a lot of fun for me. But before we begin, we are going to just fix one little thing on this guitar that I see on a lot of guitar. Almost every time I buy a second-hand Stratocaster, they have the strap button moved from the upper horn to the lower horn. And that is because there are a lot of right-handed guitar players who love to pretend that they're Jimi Hendrix, so they buy left-handed guitars and they flip them around, they put the strap button on the lower horn and they play it upside down, like Jimi Hendrix did. And so, if you're left-handed and you're going to buy second-hand Stratocasters, you're at some point going to encounter this, and so I'm going to show you how to remove it and make your guitar nice and perfect and looking the way it's supposed to look, so you don't have to have a hole here where the first strap button is. Okay, so if we take a closer look, here's the guitar right now, and as you can see, this is the lower horn and the strap button is on here. It's not the way it's supposed to look, but obviously that's the way you do it if you want to have the guitar flipped upside down. So we're gonna remove it and put it back over here, and then we are gonna fill this little hole that is left, because if you look at this horn, you most likely can see there is a tiny little hole here. So let's just take a screwdriver and remove this screw real quickly. And as you can see, it doesn't look that nice. So if you were to just put this guitar together, you would most likely want to fix that. Here is the old hole. We can just put this back and screw it in. But we're not going to do that because the felt ring that is supposed to be in between is gone. So we're going to replace that. And at some point I'm going to remove the paint and repaint the guitar. So let's just focus on this hole and what we need to do to fill it and make it look nice. Okay, so here I have a match, a regular old match. You can get them anywhere. And I have some wood glue on it. And I'm just going to press it into the hole and try to get it in as deep as I can, which is probably something like that. And then I'm just going to remove the excess glue, like so. And to make this a little bit easier to work with, I'm just going to cut off most of it, leaving just a tiny bit sticking out, like so. It's about maybe, I don't know, let's say about 2 mil or something, or 1 mil, somewhere in between there. And now I'm just gonna leave this to dry for a little bit, maybe 10 minutes or something like that, and we'll be back. Okay, so once the glue has dried, at least somewhat, you don't have to make it waterproof. Usually wood glue will have 2 drying times, one when it's workable, up to like 20 minutes, and one it's waterproof, which is about 24 hours later. We don't have to wait 24 hours, that's a bit extreme. The next thing is we're gonna level it to the body, and you can use a lot of different things. For example, you can use a razor blade. They're usually flat, will come up real close. I'm gonna use a carving knife, and it's just because it has a handle, it's very sharp, I can angle it in and really get close. So let's do it. So I hold the guitar firmly in my hands and I just slowly cut away what sticks up. And as you can see, I very quickly leveled the surface. Okay, so the next step is putting a couple of drops of super glue and letting it sip in and dry. And basically that will make it so that the wood won't absorb any of the color we're going to put on later. Now you should match the color to the paint. This guitar is just black, so it's sort of easy because black is just black. There's no real trick to it. There's a lot more going into it if you're doing this to maybe a guitar that has a sparkle finish, like, you know, a metal flake. candy apple red color or something like that. Now, I'm gonna just put some of these drops in, and it's basically gonna act like a sanding sealer, and then we'll be back. So I have the body here, I have the super glue here, and I'm just gonna press out a couple of drops. First a drop, and see if it sinks in, and maybe 2 drops will do it. I'm gonna leave it like that for a couple of minutes and see how well it sinks in, and if it feels like it's sinking in too much, I'm gonna come back and put on a couple more drops, and I will be back in maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so everything is dried, and it's time to put the color in and get this over with, basically. And there's a lot of ways you can do this. You could take a permanent marker that is black, and you could fill it in and then put super glue over it to seal it in. But the thing is, you'll most likely get a weird kind of bluish over tint to it that looks a little bit weird, so I'm not gonna go that way. It's perfectly fine to do it that way, and most people would probably not notice it if you do a really good job. I'm gonna go a different way, which is I'm gonna use a acrylic water-based pencil. These are the kinds of pens you buy at the arts and crafts store and that you use to draw nice pictures. And the thing is, you get a pack with a lot of different colors. You'll mostly find a pen that works with your paint or a combination. And so we're just gonna take a knife and we're gonna scrape away some of the paint so that we can make it into a powder and put it in place and put super glue over it. You'll see in a second what I mean, but that's basically what we're gonna do. Okay, so here we have the guitar, and I'm just gonna take the pen and the knife, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm just scraping away like this. And if I put it in the mark, like so, hopefully you can see that it sort of makes it disappear. Now, we're just gonna bond it all together with a drop of super glue. I hope you can see what I'm doing. It might be difficult to actually see what I'm doing, and if that's the case, I'm sorry, but I'm basically just smushing it around with some super glue and some scrapings of acrylic pencil, and it basically melts the acrylic and makes it into an almost clay-like substance. And now we're just gonna wait for it to dry, and I'm gonna try to see if I can give you some close-up of what it looks like. It's kind of hard for the camera, but maybe there you can see it. It looks like a weird mess, almost like you have a weird bump underneath the lacquer or something. But the color matching is pretty good. Obviously, if you have something a little bit more complicated than just standard black, you'll maybe have to do a little bit more complicated touch-up work. Okay, so once everything is dried, you can scrape it flat with something, and then take some wet and dry sandpaper, and with a little bit of water on it, we can start just sanding it somewhat like this to make it flat and even. And I don't know if you can see it, but it looks dull and then it's shiny where I haven't touched it up, because of the high spots being sanded down faster than the low spots, basically. And in a place like this, I would say you don't have to go overboard. The nicer you do it and the more work you put into it, the better result you will have in the end. So if you look at this right now, you can see that it's even, basically no high spots. And so now we're gonna take some rubbing compound. It's the kind that you use on your car to polish it, and we're just gonna need a little bit. This is actually maybe even too much, and we're just gonna smear it out, make it look even. We have sanded more than maybe one would think is necessary, but that's because it needs to be flattened out. So we're leaving this on for a couple of seconds, maybe 15-20 seconds, and then we're just taking foam disc on our drill, and we're just gonna polish this out and push it in. And in a couple of seconds, just like that, we are able to get a nice gloss finish back. And so now if we look at the guitar, we have the upper horn here, it looks something like that, and the finish looks nice. And if I move up here, you can see the horn there, and it looks really nice too. If you go really close, you can see that it has some dings and scratches. I need to polish the upper part. Let's see if I can show you. I have to polish the upper part right here a little bit more, but it looks pretty good. It's not 100% perfect. I could spend a little bit more time making it even better, but I think that's good enough for now. I am gonna make a video series or something similar of me fixing this guitar up and making it perfect with a new coat of paint and everything, so I don't want to spend too much time on this guitar right here, but I hope you understand the concept of how to fix a drilled hole like this. And so I hope you will subscribe to watch those videos when they come out, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I have some ideas to make the video series a little bit different than the other guitars I've done. I've already done 2 other Stratocasters on this channel. My Jimi Hendrix Stratocaster not so long ago, and if you haven't seen that video series you should go and watch it. And also my video series where the Sunburst Stratocaster, it's called Taking a Squire and Making it into a Custom Shop or something like that. It was a long time ago now, 2 years or something like that. Anyway, I really enjoy both of those guitars and those series are really fun. So watch them and hopefully you'll stick around to watch what I'm going to do to this guitar. And hopefully you're going to think that it's fun and interesting too. And hopefully it's going to inspire you to want to build your own guitars or modify your own guitars, or, you know, maybe rescue a guitar. Because, you know, there is a lot of guitars out there that needs to be saved, sadly, but true. And so hopefully you'll stick around, see what I'm doing with this one. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if this helped you in some way. Maybe you're a left-handed guitar player and you have a guitar that has a little hole like this and you want to fill it up. Hopefully this video can help. Let me know in the comments below if it helped. If you wouldn't mind subscribing and liking the video, I would appreciate it if you did. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I would appreciate it if you did. Until next time, stay awesome and cool, and go and look on eBay for used broken guitars, you know, and see if you can find something that is a good deal. Don't pay too much, they are broken, but also, you know, you can make some really cool and interesting guitars out of old broken guitars, so don't be afraid. Take the challenge, jump into it, and see if you can make something awesome. And if you do something awesome, tell me in the comments below, and maybe even film it so that I can see it. It's really fun.